We have another guest who's joined us now in the studio for the final conversation of the week. Lawyer Danstan Omari is here with us. We saw him on Wednesday night in Karen, in the cold of Karen, in this very hot Nairobi. He was dressed very warmly. Yesterday we saw him at the law courts saying very many things. Let's welcome the advocate Danstan Omari with the day's proverb. This one is Igbo. That G must come in. Igbo.
Put them together.
The proverb is Igbo from Nigeria. Character is like pregnancy. You cannot hide it. Character is like pregnancy. You cannot hide it. Wakili, good morning.
Synthetic pregnancies can be hidden.
Hey, what?
Hey.
No, what?
Had to be a lawyer. Just to bring
Why are we?
another
No,
perspective.
it's Friday, Wakili.
Surely.
Pregnancy of 1 month can be hidden. Pregnancy of 9 months, it depends on the tenure. But that is a lawyer's argument.
I see that's a lawyer's argument.
Yes.
Eventually, if this pregnancy goes to full term, you will not hide it.
It will never be hidden.
That is like character.
But you can relocate to where people who don't have eyes are. Then it will not be seen.
Lawyers will
Cannot just
argue.
be. I mean,
As I tell you, science is the one that works well. And math.
Yeah.
Math, you're told, the
Use this
circumference of
formula.
a circle is pi d. Pi is 22 over 7 or 3.14. D is the straight line from one end of the circle to the other end of the circle through the middle.
you will get the answer.
You'll get lawyers will
Yeah.
start arguing. Who said that this line must be straight?
Who said the circle is equal measure from start to finish?
Who said the circle must be circular?
And that is true because the lawyers will be taking a position depending on who is the principal. It is not the lawyer arguing, it is the one who has instructed them. So the position he takes, if the circle is different, then that is the position of the client. But that is another day for those mathematics. But lawyers are very poor in maths.
If we depended on lawyers, we'd never know the circumference of a circle. Simple things. Anyway, Wakili,
Yes,
welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
thanks.
We saw you in court yesterday. We saw you in Karen on Wednesday. All right. We also heard from the DCI. We heard from the Inspector General of Police. We heard from the Cabinet Secretary for the Interior. We heard from the EACC CEO. We've heard from so many people. We are just waiting for the local security companies to also issue a statement. All of them saying what you people are seeing in Karen were your own things.
Yeah, we are waiting for the GSU to give their statement. We are waiting for Kenya Wildlife Services to give theirs. We are waiting for GS to give their services. We are waiting for everybody up to my village watchman to answer. Why?
Let's
That
start with
government-
the what. Let's start with the what. What was happening in Karen on Wednesday night?
What was happening in Karen is that a commotion arose. And that commotion arose within the precincts of Karen, where the former minister, the former cabinet secretary for interior was. That is his residence. People, not animals from the orphanage, you know that place is next to the orphanage, came to the residence of the minister with an attempt to either arrest, kidnap, maim, whatever intention that they wanted to do.
Or visit?
Whatever it is. The minister, the cabinet secretary, the media raises an alarm. The police and everybody in this country, everybody in the security sector says, it is not our guys who are there. Then the question comes in that, yes, it's not your guys who are there. Then what did you do once you realized there is commotion? You and all the other media houses were live. To date, as I'm talking, is more than 36 hours. The police have not bothered to go and see what that commotion was. Whether they were chimpanzees that had sneaked from the orphanage, whether it was foreigners who had come, whether it was terrorists who were attacking our former CS. To date,
Nobody has come?
but the government is consistent that it is not us.
Okay.
Okay.
It is not us who are there.
Let's
But
start with
the
you.
question is,
Let's start with you. Who was there?
yes,
What time did you get there?
8.
8 p.m.
Yes.
What were you going to do?
My client called me. Yeah, it was a stress call. So we were there officially because
What did he tell you when he called?
he has information. The cops are coming for him.
Okay.
Okay.
So he has information police are coming for him.
Yes.
He did not say, I am looking through the window and I'm seeing people outside my house.
Remember, we are not.
Or there's somebody who has knocked at my door.
Remember, we are not dealing with an ordinary.
No, we are not.
Kenyan. We are dealing with the former head of security
Yes.
at a cabinet level for the last 10 years.
Yes.
He has his own way of getting information, even if still is not in government.
Okay.
So he calls us in advance and says, I have information.
In advance of what, Wakili?
At 8.
No. You said he calls us in advance.
Before the
advance of
operation.
what?
In
Before
In
the
advance
operation.
of before the actual
Said that there was
actualization.
somebody going to come for me.
Guys are coming for me.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like us to go through this chronologically because obviously the danger of not giving the information as you experienced it, I mean, we don't have to spell that
Very,
out. Very dangerous, right? So from the reports, and then you can confirm or deny that, it was said, allegedly, that there were people, we had gone as far as saying that the area around his house had been cordoned off by
True.
these individuals. Did this happen in your presence?
This time, we have been told, come.
Okay. 8 p.m.
Okay.
By
You've been told, come. I have been told people are coming.
People are coming.
Okay.
The lawyers moved to the side.
You don't live far from him.
I don't know how you sure I live somewhere.
You get there.
You've had that direction.
What time did you get there?
8.
Okay.
What did you
see
find?
when you got there?
Karen is not a stadium where you are able to see what is happening outside. It's a leafy estate. It's a control estate. Once you get in, you are only able to access the compound specific that you're going.
Okay.
You cannot be able to access other compounds on what they are doing.
Okay.
So generally, when we arrived there, we went and saw our client,
Yes.
who told us the type of situation that is there.
Okay.
Already, unmarked vehicles had already gained access.
Okay.
Two?
To his compound?
There is a road.
Yes.
Within the road, on this side there are houses, on this side there are houses. Entry to his compound is restricted by a gate. But the public road that accesses all the compounds is a public road that you cannot come in and say, boss,
Talk
this is
about.
my territory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as these vehicles come in, the security guard, the police officers are present. His own arrangement in terms of security are present. Information is already relayed in advance that the big boys are coming. So he takes cover in his own house. What is very certain is that nobody entered his own house.
Nobody
entered
The
his
compound.
gate, the compound.
Okay.
But many people were outside. That's why he said there were quite a number of people
Outside.
outside. These people are outside. The state is saying they are not police officers. But they are not saying who these people are.
When you arrive there, this road that leads to the Honorable Matiang'i's home, did you find any vehicle, any human being
Many.
on the road?
Okay.
Many vehicles.
Many either that belong to the owners of the houses. You can't really say the specific
can't
vehicles
tell.
were destined to a specific gate because the houses, as I've said, is a control area.
Yeah.
Vehicles can be parked 200 meters apart.
Yeah.
But their target is the CS's
can be
place.
there.
Vehicles can be parked 2 meters apart. Really, that
Without any target.
you can't any target.
Okay.
So the question is that report now moves out that they are suspicious characters.
Okay. Was the area cordoned off?
I've tried to explain that it is impossible to cordon because it's not it's not a one.
And it's a public road.
It's a public road.
Public road. Okay.
Okay.
So that didn't happen. Also, now you're saying that we didn't know these vehicles that were outside where they would have been going. So
That is very clear.
So was he then under siege, as we've been saying?
That's what I'm saying.
As it has been reported over the last 36 hours that actually come and being held, in ransom
siege.
almost in my home. How were we able to establish that on the night of Wednesday?
I've said this. His compound is inaccessible as a house.
Okay.
But the road that gets to this place, there are very many strange vehicles,
Yeah.
very many people who you are not aware
Okay.
who these people are. Is this not cordoning? Because once you cordon exit.
You block off the area. That's
The
what
only area
Yeah.
that he could have found exit, strangers are there with strange vehicles.
Okay.
Behind is a forest. The CS could not be able to know what is happening
Sure.
behind the forest. The only place he can be able to ascertain is that the frontage to his compound have several unmarked, unfamiliar vehicles with very mean-looking human beings.
Okay.
And immediately an SOS goes that I'm under siege.
Yes. Was there any conversation held between these mean-looking individuals and then yourselves who had come to the house at night?
When we arrived, because we are saying we are arriving, these people are not telling you they are going to the CS's place.
Okay.
You ask people, they cannot bring their vehicles as windows down.
Oh, so they were all in the vehicles.
There are people in the vehicle.
Okay.
There are guys on the knee. They are not just at the gate so that you are saying that you are entering here. People are hovering here. They can't identify themselves.
Okay.
They cannot say exactly where they are going. That is the alarm that triggered that. Because of the earlier information, are these people going to the orphanage to watch the zebras? No. Are
they
these
visiting
people,
the neighbors?
Are they visiting neighbors?
We don't
No.
Are they
So,
the neighbors just sitting in their
Are
cars?
they neighbors? They are not neighbors. The neighborhood, everybody knows each other. So the question is, what else do you do? Is to raise an alarm.
Okay.
Who do you raise an alarm to? You don't raise an alarm to Ichungwa. You raise an alarm to the relevant security apparatus
Okay.
that are under siege.
Okay.
That was 60 hours ago that the former CS was under siege. Nobody bothered to come and know. And it is common practice that even when a husband and a wife are fighting, just mere noise, the OCS will send cops to come and see what is happening.
Okay.
This is a former interior minister. There is an alarm. It takes 14 hours for the IG to come and say, those are not my people. Whose responsibility is it to come and know who are these people? Nobody is saying they are your people. Why don't you come and know who these people are? That is the only question.
Oh, because from what you're saying, they could be thugs, criminals, whatever.
I've said they could be any
could be
goon
anybody.
in this town.
Let me ask this question.
Yes.
The former cabinet secretary for the interior, does he currently have police security?
The number was reduced.
But does he have police security?
He has police security.
Are they stationed at his home?
I will not completely detail the security apparatus, but I'll say that he's not completely stripped off security, but it has been downgraded heavily.
Were there police officers guarding the former CS on Wednesday night?
Very well. They were.
And they saw these strange vehicles coming and parking.
I can't talk on their behalf, but where they were positioned,
They
must have seen them.
Okay. These police officers have the detail and authority from whoever dispatched them to make sure that they are guarding their subjects.
Very well.
Did they interrogate these strange vehicles?
Definitely. They must have been the source of the information to the CS that there are strange people around here.
Okay. So there was therefore police presence.
There were police present.
In Karen on that night.
Very well.
So what you're saying that the IG cannot say because he did not send officers, therefore is contradictory. Because officers who are guarding the former CS are actually police officers who report to the Inspector General of Police.
The Inspector General's police, his report is that he does not own the bodyguards, according to what you are raising. The bodyguards are not police officers. But because he's saying there was no body from the National Police Service there. Bodyguards are members of the National Police Service Commission. The DCI confirms that they have taken some of the statements from their own officers,
yeah.
Which means there was bodyguards. The question is not about the bodyguards.
My
The
question to
bodyguards
you
are
is-
known by the CS.
Okay.
Bodyguards are lawfully there. There is a bunch of people that have been disowned not to be members of any disciplined force in this country. But nobody is denying presence of people. The question is, why then did the government fail to go and ascertain who are these people?
But there were officers on
The
the ground.
officers-
That's the point I'm raising.
They are
The
government.
officers on the
Officers
ground.
have been told at all times,
guard this
guard
subject.
this person.
They
On
must-
that night,
Yes.
officers were in Karen guarding the said person.
And there are goons around here.
Okay. So the question is, did these officers
Engage with these said goons.
call their headquarters or their superiors and ask for extra officers and backup? If they didn't, then the local OCS has...
This is nested with more than 20, 30 houses.
Yes.
Nobody specifically. The bodyguards are specific to a particular body and a
Yes.
particular house.
Yes.
This is a road.
It's a public road.
Are you getting the point?
Yes.
The only issue is to inform that there are suspicious looking people here.
Yes.
Are we together?
I think it goes beyond that. If
They
you-
must
if you-
have escalated to their command center.
Are you certain of this?
They must have. My words are, they must have.
You're not certain.
I'm not certain. I'm not one of the security operatives.
Right.
But Spice raised an alarm. Spice was there, showing commotion there. Did anybody, did the area OCS, did the area OSPD, did the Inspector General, did the DCI?
Do you know whether they spoke to their own officers? Because the Inspector General sitting and watching TV and sees all this commotion, and the first port of call, of course, is, I know I've got an officer there. Hey,
What's up?
OCPD, OCS, call the officer or whoever is in charge, whoever these officers report to. What's happening? If the officers say, ni kina Danstan wamekuja hapa.
Let them come out clearly that we are the goons.
Okay.
We are the people,
That
the
are-
lawyers
that are the goons.
that caused a national uproar.
Wakili,
Once they say that,
Yeah.
that Raila Odinga and myself and the others were friends of Matiang'i,
Matiang'i.
Sure.
and we were only going as visitors, let them come out very clear.
Wakili, then you must understand how all of this becomes befuddled then by the statements that we heard on Wednesday night. If now you were saying we're not sure who these individuals are,
Nobody's sure.
but on Wednesday night we were talking about arbitrary arrests, and we're talking about the dark days of a former regime, and we're talking about kidnapping.
Matiang'i's life is in danger.
Matiang'i's life
Those
is
are
in
your
danger.
words.
How is it possible? You said this.
My own words, and I still stand by them.
How is it possible that you could make such a conclusive statement, but now you say you're not even sure who these individuals were?
What I'm saying, this is a former CS. There are suspicious characters here. These suspicious characters, the first point of call are police officers. Based on earlier intelligence reports, the CS has put it very clearly that he had information they are coming.
Okay.
Will they come in uniform? Will they come with a Land Rover?
We don't know.
Will they come whichever way they will come?
Will they be paratroopers who
They
just
might
get into
be.
his compound?
They will not definitely come in a police vehicle.
But you
They
don't know.
will come in a manner. Let's give them the benefit of doubt. They were not police officers. Were they human beings that were suspicious? Whose mandate was it to come and know who these people are?
Okay.
What did government do to clear the air? That's the only departure. That anytime you make a distress call to the police,
Yeah.
their
To
first
answer you.
answer is to come
Okay.
Yes.
and ascertain.
Yeah.
Why didn't they come?
Again, Wakili, you said this is a public road, all right?
Yes.
There's an institution on one end of the road. It's a cul-de-sac and to the other side,
Yes.
right? Houses on both sides of the road.
Yes.
These suspicious vehicles are not necessarily parked outside the CSS gates. They're along the road,
Along the road.
adjacent to other people's compounds.
Yes.
Did the other neighbors complain? Did any other neighbor complain and say, you know what, there's actually a vehicle outside my compound? Because they're not outside the CSS compound.
I'm not advocate for the neighbors.
Did you hear anyone? Did any of
I've
the neighbors
not-
come out and tell you, by the way, these people, in fact, I was wondering, what? Wako kwa nje ya nyumba yangu?
The question is, when the lawyers come, if these people had a good intention, why did they take off? If the people had good,
If they
good
took off,
intention,
they would not be having good intentions.
if they were visitors for a wedding party, why did they take off? And the question is, these people, the number of plates of the vehicles are registered at the main barri. They don't belong to this place.
Right.
And when confronted with that information, the state is saying, we are going to investigate. A registration number of a car is not something that the DCI will take a whole year to investigate. So in essence, we are saying the CS was left to fight for his own life. The people entrusted to protect him either from police officers or from goons or from even lawyers who can turn against him, refused, rejected, and up to date as I'm talking, none has gone to visit
But
CS
Bwana
Matiang'i to
Wakili,
ask him what really happened.
the CS's life, really, we cannot say it was in danger. These people were not outside his compound. They were not inside his compound. They were not inside his house.
The
Man
CS
is
is
guarded
live.
by police officers, and police officers have not been empowered. I mean, have not been overpowered. As far as the CS,
Look at the chronology.
seeing-
Look at the chronology.
his police detail is intact.
Look at the chronology. The CS's full detail is downgraded.
All right.
A day after that, he has information. He's being invaded. Suspicious vehicles are here. The relevant authorities keep quiet. Were they coming to greet the president, as I've heard one CS say that they were going to greet his their former boss? Let us not trivialize the question of our life. Let us not trivialize the role he had in terms of being in charge of security. Let us not overlook the type of enemies he must have created
That's all
while
true.
on duty
That's
as
all,
a CS.
That's all true, Wakili.
So the question is,
Was his
As-
security detail compromised?
are they answerable to him 100%?
The security detail is, of course, answerable to their boss.
Period. Is he
Not-
their boss now?
Not the subject.
Is he now the
They
subject?
report to the Inspector General of Police.
Very well.
Even when they were guarding the former deputy president's home in Karen,
Yes.
they were recalled by the then Inspector General
Very
of
well.
Police and shuffled.
Very well.
So the security detail attached to Dr. Matiang'i does not report to Matiang'i.
Very well.
But was that security detail compromised? If he had 4 officers that are left in his detail, were there now 3 on that night? Instead of 4, were they 2 on that night? Did any of them come complaining that, you know what, I've been hit with, I have been compromised in any way? Was there such? Is that what we are using to then classify this as the former CS's life was in danger? Or was it vehicles that were in the neighborhood, not outside his compound, but outside the neighbor's compounds?
The CS's life was in danger and still in danger in that security detail was downgraded. Okay. 2, there were people outside his area. Nobody has taken interest to really investigate who these people are.
Okay.
If they are criminals, they should be arrested. If they were police officers, they should be known. The role of who was there and the intention can never be shifted. And I've seen quite a number of Kenya Kwanza people saying, show us the video, show us the photos, show us that. Whose burden is that? Are they still thinking that CS Matiang'i is the Minister for Interior? He's not. He's a simple public, he was a former public servant without any state power. It is them.
Okay.
The burden cannot be shifted to a private citizen that show us the evidence. So they are losing completely, and the propaganda that show us the video is so cheap. It is them. The CCTV cameras, the DCI and the police have power to go and pick all the footages from entry to every house. Can Matiang'i go to the neighbor and get the CCTV footage? No.
Is he chairman of Nyumba Kumi?
Is he the chairman of that Nyumba Kumi? No. So really, it is so simplistic that the government does not, and that is why it is very uncoordinated. Everybody is saying it is not my people who are there. The question is not about whether it was your people who are there and they are listening. The question is who was people were there.
Is it burning?
It's burning.
Okay.
Because and you can answer it after the break.
Yes.
But then what did the Langata OCPD and the DCIO go to do at Matiang'i's home yesterday morning?
I answer after the commercial break. Perfect.
It's 25 minutes to 10. Lawyer Danstan Omari is here. He is Dr. Fred Matiang'i's lawyer.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Wakili, so you went to court yesterday and you were seeking anticipatory bail, which you got. And the CS has been now asked to deposit some, how was it, 200,000?
Personal bond of 200,000. He signed a personal bond of 200,000.
All right. So what does that mean?
For the benefit of Kenyans and those watching worldwide is that the court has now agreed with us with the arguments we took to court, the apprehension that we took to court, the evidence that we presented to the court, that he's likely to be arrested outside the known legal procedures. So the court has given him a personal bond that he will present himself to any investigative agency of this country who will summon him.
Okay.
Because nobody has ever summoned him.
Okay.
After that, the court is very clear that CS Matiang'i is not above the law. He will subject himself to any investigation. And we did put it to everybody that the CS is not disputing him being investigated. And the DCI has confirmed in his presser that they indeed are investigating several files. But they have not reached the point of him being required to record a statement or him being arrested.
Okay.
That is what we were looking for, that if there is anybody looking for Matiang'i, let him be summoned.
Okay.
You don't come at night without a search warrant, everything. So, 2, the fact that the court has stopped any form of arrest means the police cannot come at night and plant guns in Mr. Waziri Matiang'i's house. I've seen a very senior lawyer associated to Kenya Kwanza saying somebody who has more than 500 guns in his house is for what? That is actually what we were trying to avoid. That if thugs entered in, or if anybody entered in,
and planted,
they can plant anything. They can plant guns, they can plant anything there. So right now, if they want to come to do a search, they'll go to court, ask for the authority for them to come and do a search. What does this mean? The CS can be arrested if there is sufficient reason to arrest him.
Okay.
The CS will present himself to any relevant authority. Third, the CS is ready to take the dog in any constitutionally recognized tribunal or court of this country to defend himself, so long as the accusers come out and put to the whole world what they have against him.
Okay.
If it is politics, the public, spies will be covering. It will be known this is politics. If it's criminal, spies will be able to say, here is a charge sheet, and Kenyans will interrogate him. But doing things at night, the court has stopped that, and that's why we are happy that now the CS can walk freely and anytime they need him. And as I put it very clearly to spies followers yesterday, that the CS is ready to even to go and stand before the ICC to defend himself. Whoever has a claim, put it. He's not above the law. He's not that one.
All you're saying is don't come at night. Don't
follow the law.
Don't stop me in the middle of the road.
People,
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, but why do we need this, Wakili?
You see,
Are we saying that the police are, without this personal bond, without going to court and applying with the personal bond, that police can tonight come to Eric Latif's home and arrest him?
I'll tell you, quite a number of the people now in cabinet, quite a number of the people who are in the government were arrested in similar manner. I did defend that position of the law, that it is not right under the current constitutional dispensation, the police to operate in a manner that is suspicious. And very many of the people who operated under the old regime, now they are being arrested for not following the law. And that is why I'm telling the DCI and the other ones in charge that after the regime changes, then they will be arrested for either following unlawful orders. Then Omari still will be there defending them. The problem with us lawyers, we are only loyal to the clans. We are not loyal to any political formation. So the people we are defending, that
So
time
it
they
is
were being
wrong.
arrested. Now they are the ones they are the ones arresting. We are now defending.
So it's wrong to go to anybody's house in the middle of the night and grab them in their underwear and take them to police
That
station.
is the law. It is not allowed within the law.
Whether you're identified or otherwise.
The law is issue summons,
Okay.
Okay.
fail to comply with summons, walk to court. I'll give you, for example, this cop called Rashid. IPOA gave summons. Rashid did not come. They went to court, and the court ordered Rashid to come and take plea, or warrants are issued. That is a procedure worldwide. The police must learn that that type of arrests, those are Gestapo types of arrests. Those are arrests that Kenyans spoke against under the constitution.
Who could these individuals have been? Because I think that also is a bit, spooky once you think about it. That there could be, random individuals in vehicles standing out somebody's house. Number one, they're unidentifiable. Number two, they choose not to speak. And then number three, when any other kind of presence comes about, they take off. Who could these individuals possibly be?
That's what we don't know, because under the law, an arresting officer, the first thing to do is to identify himself by the badge that I'm a
Or
police
by word of
officer.
mouth,
I'm so and so. No. Anybody
show the
can
badge.
masquerade himself
Okay.
that I'm a police officer.
Okay.
How
You
do we know that this badge is authentic?
I'm moving to that.
Okay.
The law provides that he must identify himself. Two, it must be within working hours.
Okay.
Okay.
Unless it is an emergency that has happened in front of something. Fourth, if it is a matter that has been investigated for long and they want to do a search, they must go to court before a magistrate, get a search warrant. Come to your door. If you refuse to open, they will again go back.
They can't force.
You remember Jimmy Wanjigi's
Wanjigi's.
matter? They could not force. They go back to court and explain that we have not been allowed access.
Right.
When they get what is called a break-in order.
Okay.
Then the police come in, break, and get you. That is standard law applicable to every Kenyan in this country.
Okay.
But because of that ignorance and because of the Matiang'i fiasco, now I have a chance to explain to every Kenyan that the police have a procedure that has been approved by Parliament assented by the president that is the way they operate.
Okay.
There is what is called the police standing orders that provides the mode and operational manual of how the police should operate. None of those were applicable at that place. That is the argument we are saying, that our client is a law-abiding citizen. A phone call like this, Matiang'i, you are required at Kilimani police station. He will say, I'm in Nyamira, give me 2 hours or let me come tomorrow. That is the law. If he fails, there is a form called you will be compelled to attend. Failure, they'll go and get a warrant.
How come nobody has ever gone to court to challenge the manner in which they were arrested? The Kamata Fridays.
We did very many. We did very many of those issues, and quite a number of cases collapsed in
On
the
account of-
unconstitutionality of an arrest.
Okay.
If the arrest was unconstitutional, if the evidence gathered, for example, you know the DCJ Mwilu's matter, where the police went and obtained illegally the evidence, the court threw that. So the law is as settled as it is. The only mistake that the government found out is that Matiang'i got the really criminal lawyers who know that procedure. And that's why we're asking, identify yourself, give us that, we take the details of the badge, give us the search warrant, give us the arrest warrant. They couldn't. They couldn't. So the question is, how many Kenyans will afford a battery of lawyers like Matiang'i to be able to avert?
200, you said.
Well, yeah, we were 200.
200 lawyers.
200 lawyers.
And you were able to park in this place that had all these vehicles.
Lawyers are not vehicles. Lawyers are human beings.
So how did you
Where
get
they
there?
parked, where they parked might be very far. The question is, were there a
200
defense team,
lawyers.
200 lawyers, to defend the law? Not to defend as we went to defend the law. We went to defend the rule of law. Because this country cannot be governed arbitrarily. It must be governed within the rule of law.
Okay.
Or if they want to change the law, go to parliament and remove that law and say anybody can arrest you all over. Two, you've raised a very issue. These guys were not police officers. Then who was there?
Who are they?
The police should tell us.
Could have been 10 of those 500, 200 lawyers.
They should be getting who were these people?
I mean, they were all called that evening. You don't know. Danstan
who?
arrived there at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
You don't know what time the first lawyer was called.
Yeah.
So we actually don't know who these people were in the vehicle.
And that burden remains to the government to say who the people were.
Sure, can I come back to that point? Is that there is still the insistence on knowing who these individuals were? who
We
took off,
are
who
still
took-
demanding.
So we went to the break and I asked a question because we do know that the OCPD for Langata, as
Yes.
well as the DCIO, went to Karen yesterday morning. Why would they go if you said that until now nobody has shown up?
The DCI and the OSPD drove in
Okay.
at around 11, something like that.
Yesterday morning now.
They never went to the home of the CS.
Okay.
Where they went is not where the scene of the crime was. To date, the CS, who I was with for breakfast before I came here, nobody, no government officer has gone to ask him what happened. Is he supposed to be asked? Yes. That's what I'm saying. It is now heading to 56 hours. Nobody has gone to ask the former CS of Interior what really happened. Is it that the DCI has a court order, or the Inspector General, we have court orders stopping them from going to ask the complainant what happened?
Maybe they're working methodically.
That's what we are saying, as we are putting to the world, that any time as a distress call comes, the first person the police need to get the details from is the one who called, is the one who is in danger. To date, no government officer. Yesterday, when I did a media presser at Milimani, I raised that question. Why are these public servants that we have paid seated on their armchair and saying, it's not our guys there, it's not our guys there? Why haven't they go? Then the OSPD is told to camouflage that you drive it. And once they drive it, they don't go and meet the CS.
Who do they meet?
That's what I'm saying.
They just drove in and drove out.
The CS, whoever, if they drove in, all I'm telling the public is that the CS has not recorded any statement.
And nobody in his household.
Nobody in his own household, nobody in the house of Matiang'i has been asked the events of that night. Is that normal? Is that place a scene of crime? Yes. Was it supposed to be preserved? Yes. To date, the house of the CS has not been preserved or condoned as a scene of crime.
But it was not a scene of crime. You just said.
There's a complaint.
Yeah.
The investigations, the DCI says, preliminary investigations show that it is fake. You get shocked if you're already saying that this is fake. It is a stage-managed dramatic incident. You have not even talked to the complainant. You've not even talked to the advocates who are there. You've not even visited the scene. But already you have a conclusion that it is fake. That's what I'm saying.
The wording, the wording of the DCI appears to suggest that he spoke to somebody. Could they have spoken to their own officers? Because they say lawyers arrive in the compound. At some point, lawyers leave the compound and they tell those at the gate that we are going to address the media.
I'll tell you, I was
So
there.
that means that the DCI is relying on information obtained from the person who was at the gate.
I was present. The said lawyers who came in
And walked out.
and walked out were led by me. The sequence of those events to the DCI is very embarrassing. When the true sequence of the flow of lawyers in and get out and they get in of Raila Odinga, that's what I'm saying. If the DCI, as a professional and the competent DCI, he could before talk that, not rely on half-baked information that is the sequence of events. And I have no right or I have no interest to put it right to him. Remember, I've seen people say, when Ndindi Nyoro was arrested, there were video clips of what. We are dealing with the former head of intelligence. We are dealing with lawyers who know the question of evidence. So the DC has given his version.
And you have yours.
Ours will wait.
For the day.
Because the DCI...
Do you know, don't tell us who, but do you know the registered owners of the vehicles that were there?
No.
Okay.
Do you have the number plates of the vehicles that were there?
Yes.
But you haven't found out the registered owners yet.
I cannot discuss that because the numbers are there in today's newspapers. The numbers are splashed there. It is no longer.
And you know for a fact that they were registered at the entrance to the estate.
It is expected that any vehicle entering that
estate.
It is expected. I cannot say with certainty what, but the vehicles, their number plates are known. There are known occupants in those vehicles, either are known or are unknown. That burden cannot be shifted to Matiang'i. That burden shifts to government.
Okay. Did you know at the time that you were being called, saying that you received, because you said on Wednesday evening, you had received intelligence, that you were going to, that this was going to happen. Did you know on Wednesday night as well that you would seek anticipatory bail the next day?
As a lawyer, that is part of the training on how to resolve your client's issues. We have tools known to us. One of them is that whenever government wants to do some monkey business, you rush to court and get an anticipatory bail. So that is the tool and the immediate. And we put it very clearly at night that we will be tomorrow, we'll be here with a vigil. Immediately, we left others there. We came and made the application. We filed it, and the judge has agreed with us.
Okay. Danstan, thank you for joining us today. When you go back and you talk to your client, Salimia Esana, tell him when he was CS, we really wanted to interview him. Now he has a bit of free time, hopefully. We'd like to interview him.
I will pass the sentiments of Kenyans. The CS, I'll tell him, I'm sure he's watching, and I'll tell him that Kenyans want to hear his voice.
Yes.
But for now, the voice of the CS is heard from his lawyer, lawfully appointed to deal with it.
Asante.
Can I get a final bite?
Yeah.
That Kenyans, let us defend the rule of law, and let us respect the operations of the rule of law. And public officers who earn our taxes, do your job. Go and interview the CS. Go and tell us. Don't ask us to give you evidence that we have that responsibility. The
It's yours.
burden is theirs. It used to be Matiang'i before Matiang'i handed over.
Okay.
And let them be coordinated. All that we are saying, you cannot have one government
Sawa.
issuing statements from 30, 50 quarters.
Time for us to leave, Danstan. Thank you
you.
very much.